What's up guys, Nick here from Nick's Reptile World, and today I'm going to be talking about bioactive enclosures. So what I'm going to be showing you guys today is I'm going to be showing you guys how to set up a bioactive enclosure. All you're going to need for this is an aquarium and or terrarium of any size of your choosing, depending on what animal goes into it, the humidity requirements, and the plant specifically. So, first thing you're going to need is you're going to need basically a rock layer. It's called a drainage layer for a bioactive enclosure. What it is essentially it's just rocks, or in this case clay marbles, which I prefer to use for mine. It's just a basic 1 to 2 inches of drainage layer depending on how big your enclosure is that you're going to be working with. What you're also going to be needing is you're going to need a piece of kind of like a cloth mesh. Some places sell them specifically for reptile enclosures. Some places like Lowe's and Home Depot, you can just get them for cheap and then just cut them to size. That's what I do. That's what I'm going to be doing today. And then after that, we're going to be taking our substrate, which is a mix of sphagnum moss, cocoa fiber, and peat moss. And we are going to be layering that on top of our cloth sheet that is on top of our drainage layer, and we are going to even that out, and from there we're going to put some plants in and give you guys a basic idea of how it's supposed to look. So let's dive right in. What's up guys? Today I want to talk to you about the importance of bioactive environments for animals such as reptiles, amphibians, and even fish. So there's a few things that I want to, a few key elements that I really want to talk about. The most obvious being that it mimics nature. Realistically, you're taking a environment that could, say, for instance, I live in Maine. I can take the environment of an animal that lives in the tropics, and I can basically take that environment and recreate it. You're going to get animals that act more natural in places that, mimic their natural habitat. You can use fake plants if you want to, but I find that live plants will do best. Though using, fake plants can work, live plants will give your animals different textures and places to hide than you would get with, say like some fake plants. It also creates an ever-sustaining environment under the proper maintenance, obviously. Alright, so now we have gotten our drainage layer all settled in. It's about 1 inch from the bottom to top, 1.5 inches. So that provides us enough area for water to kind of pool up and soak in all the nutrients from the roots and from the dirt and substrate and everything that goes on in this ecosystem. Microfauna such as live plants, carbon, springtails, isopods, they all play a part in cycling the decaying matter inside the enclosure. Everything is in a full cycle in a bioactive enclosure. All decaying matter such as feces, urates, mold, mildew, and dead plants are all recycled into the soil, which is then absorbed, by the roots of the healthy plants, cleaning the air pollution within the enclosure itself and preventing some of your animals from getting possible respiratory issues down the road. Also, bioactive aquariums, for you fish people out there, they basically consistently soak up ammonia that's created by fish urates. Basically, it works the same way as your average terrarium, except for instead of the multiple layers of substrates, usually it's more you just have one rock layer on the bottom and possibly some sand on top, and that's basically your drainage layer / where all the bacteria is going to build up inside of an aquarium. So planted plants inside of an aquarium, they will suck all those nutrients out through the rock substrate at the bottom and also through the water surrounding them. Same with floating plants as well. And this is keeping the water from needing to be changed as often. Now that we have our substrate layer mesh down, We can move on to the next step, and that is putting our substrate in.
And it saves you money on water costs for water changes. Planted aquariums, they don't need their water changes often because those plants that are inside of the water will suck up any of the urates and any negative things that may be in the water and kind of level out the water for your fish as well. The biggest thing for keepers out there is that it saves you time. Since everything is full cycle, the most you will have to do is an occasional, watering of the plants and soil based off your desired humidity level and bioactive setup. You don't have to spot clean unless animal droppings are, the size of like Motley, my tegus, or one of my larger grown leechies who basically crap all over the front door of their enclosure. But realistically, you wouldn't even have to change that substrate out for 6 months to a year, maybe even further onward, depending on how well the setup runs in the long term. Cleaning the glass is about all you have to do. Going back to what I said before, you don't have to really spot clean feces as much because it's going to be eaten by all the microfauna that is within your substrate, so your springtails and isopods and beetles and stuff like that. So for aquatics, since you're not cycling water as often, all you really have to do is just spot clean droppings on occasion. Obviously that depends on the amount of fish that you've got in there and everything, and if you've got detrivores, cleaners such as like shrimp or snails. Stimulated breeding tendencies in animals. Now this is something that you get like a 50-50. Some people say that they see a lot of increased breeding tendencies in their animals, and some say they don't see a difference at all. Obviously, it depends on the animal, but realistically, breeders around the world have found that their animals, whether it's a reptile, an amphibian, or fish alike, they all had increased mating tendencies with the inclusion of live plants and active fauna. The most important thing for your animals is keeping them healthy, and that's exactly what a bioactive enclosure will do. So the beneficial bacteria you can find in substrate or the water of a bioactive enclosure can actually provide benefits to digestive and gill health to your animals. And small cleanup crews like your springtails, isopods, not only do they keep mold and mildew clean and completely gone, but they also serve as great snacks for your animals on occasion. And last but not least, it just looks cool. I mean, let's be honest, it doesn't matter what form of enclosure you use when you open it up and see the beautiful planted setup thrive. It looks cool as heck. I mean, as long as you make sure that you don't forget to maintain your enclosure's humidity or your water parameters, because dead plants and animals just don't look cool. I felt no need to include the aquarium bioactive setup because realistically, like I said, all it is aquatic plants and 1 to 3 inches of a gravelly, sandy substrate for your rooted plants to root into. You can even just straight up use floating plants instead of ones that you have to plant inside a substrate if you want to use a minimalistic substrate amount at the bottom to help with your spot cleans. One thing that I completely forgot to mention to you guys, which is extremely important, is this right here. This is your microfauna for your bioactive enclosure. What these are springtails. I bought these from Josh's Frogs. You can buy them just about anywhere. They're very microscopic bugs that eat, they're basically detrivores. So they eat nothing but, mold, fungus, algae, urates, feces, all that stuff. And any plant waste as well. So basically, they sustain this system for you guys, so that you guys don't have to worry about cleaning as much, depending on obviously the humidity levels, how you set up your bioactive enclosure, what animal, all that. But I can 110% guarantee you that all of this together is going to make your animal's life 100 times better, and your life as a keeper 100 times better as well.
So there you go, guys. That's how you set up a basic bioactive enclosure. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys enjoyed some of the facts that I put out there for you guys about bioactive enclosures and just animals in general. I'm really about the science. I really love it. It's what I'm passionate about. So if you guys like that stuff, feel free to comment. Let me know down below in the comments. And yeah, I'm Nick from Nick's Reptile World, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.